Hi, I'm back after about a month. Sorry that I haven't been around. I've been busy with school mostly. I finally got my grades up. I don't have just C's and D's anymore. I actually had a 4.0 GPA there for a while, but not anymore. Um, I, it's alright though, because I'm not, like, even though I kind of flunked a few classes last semester, I don't really plan to go to a four-year college because I feel like the large area and everything would stress me out. I wouldn't be able to find my way around. Um, and I'd be very far away from home. And also, like, when I'm older, I want to be an author, specifically a fantasy author. I used to want to do stop motion animation, but I realized that, like, I don't, even though it's a great hobby, I really enjoy stop motion. I don't have the patience to sit there and, you know, move a thing and then not move it. And also, I haven't been doing it since I was literally a child. I have been writing since I was 8 years old ish. And I think the very first time I remember writing was when I was like 8 years old, and I was like 11-ish actually, and I was writing this little Minecraft fan fiction, maybe. I don't know if that's the right word for it. Kinda, I guess. It's like when, like, if anyone's ever read that book, The Quest for the Diamond Sword. I read that when I was, well, my dad read that to me when I was little. I was trying to do something like that, except unauthorized and written by a very small child. I didn't even get, uh, 2 pages in, though. And then when I was around 12, I got really into writing, and I even developed my own story with characters and everything, and most of the pages are lost. It was a relatively short story, and I had awful handwriting. I had, when I was writing it, a habit of making some of the words very large. Some pages would only have like 2 very messily scribbled words on it, but then some would be like a paragraph, and then, yeah. And I guess some books can pull that off. Like Long Way Down. If you've ever read Long Way Down, I had to read it in my English class. It's a poetry book. Um, it's a very long poem, and some of the words, or some of the pages, only have a few words on them. And it's meant to be read in a certain inflection, or at least when you read it back to yourself, that's how it sounds in your head. And it's made like that on purpose, but as a small child, I was not that creative with it. Um, I, um, I also wrote another thing just in my notes app on my phone, but it was a full story like the other one. The other one was also a complete story. This one was a complete story as well. And I remember the plot of this one more clearly. And it was about this girl who had escaped a cult. I was around 13 when I wrote this. And this girl had escaped a cult. And she went to an inn and met this girl that was a witch. And then there was this Naga, which, if you don't know what that is, it's a snake with a male or just a person's head. And she killed it by throwing a rock at its head and drowning it in the lake. And then she was everyone loved her, and then she went into this like hut of like fighters, and she had like 2 other roommates there. And then I never like published it or anything, obviously, because I was 13, and it's lost now probably, unless I can break into the phone. But the phone broke, and it was like in a notes app, or like one of those write your own story app or something. And I tried to make a sequel where she like went back to the cult and saved this little girl, but then it didn't save and it got nowhere. And I would work on it every night before I went to sleep, I remembered. But, you know, it didn't get anywhere. I'm sure if I really wanted to, if I had written it in something like my Google Docs or something, and I was older and I wrote better, which I can write alright now, I think. I guess I'm not really the judge of if my writing's good or not, because if all authors were the judge of if their writing's good, the good authors would say their writing's bad, and the bad authors would say their writing's good, because I feel like that's just like how like people think. It's a scientific effect actually proving that the smarter a person is, the less confident they'll like be in themselves. Like, have you ever seen like an unintelligent person do something? Like, they do it with so much confidence. Like, they always think they're right, and they just do it with so much confidence. But like, if you've ever seen like an intelligent person devise a plan, they don't do it with the confidence of a god. Like, they know that they aren't really all that, the smart ones. I guess I can't really categorize people into smart or dumb, but there is an effect, like, proving, like, I forgot what it was called, it's the something effect, and it proves or suggests that smart people are less confident in themselves than intelligent people, or, damn it, that, that, like, the more intelligent you are, the more, like, the less confident you are in yourself. Which is why I feel like if people had the power, if all the authors have the power to, like, decide if they were good, then all the bad authors would be like, I'm the best, and all the good authors would be like, I'm mediocre. Except for the really, really, really big authors like J.K. Rowling. I don't know how she thinks about her writing, but I'm not a very big fan of her. I like to stay kind to everyone that I can, but she's done so much harm to the trans community and to a lot of, I'm sure, other communities. I might come off as racist for thinking this, or anti-Semitic for thinking this, but I've heard that in one of the Harry Pothead books, that, that the goblins or whatever are portrayed as money-hungry, long-nosed creatures who control all the media. And it sounds like she's trying to stereotype Jewish individuals without saying, look, the goblins are Jewish, because if she straight up said the goblins are Jewish, then she'd be anti-Semitic. But since people were young and reading Harry Potter, They didn't really catch on, and I don't know. It like that just seems kind of suspect, you know. Sorry, I had to put anti-bite on my mosquito bites because the mosquitoes were out last night and they ate me whole. And I just cannot stop itching. I feel like the kind of medium-sized authors wouldn't they wouldn't, how do I say this? I don't think that they would, like, I don't know. I paused the video and then I forgot that I was saying something about authors who are in the middle. I think that, just people like J.K. Rowling, she kinda sucks, to be honest. And when I hear people talk about, like, I like Harry Potter, I'm, in my mind, I think, do they know? Like, about the kind of person that J.K. Rowling is. And also, like, I do the same thing when people are like, I like Melanie Martinez. I think, like, do they know the kind of person Melanie Martinez is? Or when people say they like any problematic celebrity at all, I just always instantly think, like, do they know? Do they know? And, like, if they do know, I'm like, well, what do they think of that? Because, like, I know that humans and just people in general, even if it's like somebody that they like, or like even if it's somebody that they know in person, they're not gonna, like, if they hear something horrible about that person, a lot of the times they're not just gonna, like, cut them off completely a lot of the times. Like, and like, people idolize celebrities. Why would they just decide to hate their idol all of a sudden because they did something problematic? I feel like people get these ideas in their heads that celebrities are these big, larger than life figures that really they're not. Like, all the actors and singers and rappers and authors, even the authors that I think are amazing, like Darren Shan and Neil Shusterman, I think, the author of Unwind. I'm reading Unwind right now, and I loved it. I loved it. I'm on book 3. My favorite character is Hayden Upchurch. So that's besides the point. I think, like, even the authors that I absolutely love and the YouTubers that I absolutely love, the internet figures, are, even though I'm guilty of it too, I'm definitely guilty of idolizing celebrities and thinking that they're, like, above human a lot of the time, because let's be honest, everyone's been a little bit parasocial at some point or another. Dear God. Like, it's like they're just a person with the same, like, physical abilities as any other man or woman or whatever in between person is on the street walking beside you or sitting next to you on the bus or on a train. And I guess the figures and people that I know and am interested in and following, like, in the people that I follow, like, on social media and stuff like that, they're not the typical A-list celebrity. Because, like, if you go up to like a basic girl or basic boy in your school, just the jock type or the popular type, and you ask them if they know who Darren Shan or Becky Sloan uh or like maybe even like Dean Withers or Perky Get a Job, a lot of them will not know who that is except maybe Dean. A lot of people know Dean. I absolutely adore Dean Withers. I think he's really amazing because I don't often see a lot of progressive white American men, but I mean, I do, just not very often, especially not in the place that I grew up, especially not at my school. But I wouldn't call a lot of the males at my school men, I'd call a lot of them boys. A lot of them are immature. They do immature things. They moan and they scream and they repeat stuff and they make fun of my stims, and I actually stim. I don't use it as a buzzword. I've been doing it since I was like 2 or 3 years old. I do things with my hands. I have certain mannerisms that look like this, or like this, or I'll flap, or I'll, when I'm reading, I'll go like this. I'll snap with my fingers, not like this or anything. Like literally snap. I'll repeat words, but not like TikTok sounds. Like a lot of people think that vocally stimming is just TikTok phrases, repeating TikTok phrases, or like saying like silly things they hear online, and it's not. I think an actual example of a vocal stim would be me repeating goose 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 goose, because I do it constantly. I do it without thinking, and I've been doing it since far before I even knew the term vocal stimming. I won't even think about doing it. I get made fun of for it. Like, in very subtle ways often that I can't put my finger on it. I can tell they're making fun of me, but I can't tell someone else that they're making fun of me, because I just can't explain it. It's in a very subtle way. And often when I get mad at them, and I really try not to, I try to be as kind to them as I possibly can. I even will, like, I'll go up to them and I'll ask them to stop. Kindly, nicely, without calling names. But then after 4 years of it, what are you gonna do? So I do yell at them at times. I do swear and call them names at times, because after I've literally not done it for years, I can't take it anymore. I can't take the name calling. I can't take the subtle teasing. I cannot take the sexual harassment any longer. After 4 years, the principal does not do shit about it. He doesn't do jack shit. The most he's ever done is look on the cameras and give one person consequences. He wouldn't even tell me who this person was or what he did. At least I haven't gotten another grape thrown at my head since then. But there was a bunch of people who would like throw food at me in my friend group, because they were just the weird kids. We're the weird kids who draw and have different opinions, and we dress differently and we act differently. So apparently that means that they can throw things at us and moan at us, specifically me. And then after, I always apologize. After I lash out at them, I always apologize. I always apologize for being rude and being unkind. And more than anything, I want to be known as a kind person. I do everything to be kind. I speak kindly to people. I act nice. I give people things. When people say they're hungry, I always am the first person digging in my lunchbox to give them food. I'm always, I have a key with me always. I always, my friends who are there, I'll offer them rides up and down the elevator because I have an elevator key. I shut my mouth until the days that I cannot shut my mouth. And even when I can't, even when I'm standing up and yelling and begging, it sounds less like, shut your fucking mouth, you're fucking stupid. It's more like, please stop, I've been doing this for 4 years, I can't anymore. But it's okay, because I don't need those people. And I have friends, and I have all the people I need. And I have everything I need to be successful. And also, I just feel like the people who do that aren't very intelligent, honestly. Often they're yelling in class, and often they're very, they seem like they don't know what's going on, and they'll laugh when I say something, insightful, I feel like. I know that it's ironic that I'm saying this, because I said that in the beginning of this video, stupid people think they're smart, and smart people think they're stupid. But honestly, those people think they're far smarter than they are. And, for example, in English class, because that's the subject that I excel at more than anything. Everything else, I just need to, write it down. Because in all reality, I'm not the smartest person in the room either. I just write things down. When I need to remember something for a class, I write it down. And then if I forget, I can just look at it again, and that's not a sign of intelligence. It's, I guess, a sign of note-taking? I don't know. But before I started saying that, in English class, the teacher will ask a question about a poem we're analyzing or a book or something, and I'll raise my hand and I'll say how I feel very articulately. Or I'll say what's, about the poem or the book or the character very articulately, how I feel about them, how they feel, what they said, and what they said entails, and then I get laughed at because, honestly, it's because I feel like they wouldn't have thought to say that themselves. And I get it. I'm not the smartest person out there. I'm not the most intelligent, most articulative, most in-touch person. A lot of the times I'm very spacey and daydreaming and in kind of my own head. But I think that I can definitely express feelings and, when I read things, I comprehend them very well. That's the one thing that I feel like I excel at the most. I can read things, and I can understand what I read. which I guess is nothing to brag at, nothing to write home about, but also, like, I feel like I say it out loud more than other people do. Maybe they don't think as deeply into it as I do. Maybe they don't say it out loud like I do, but I say it out loud. And maybe that's from years and years and years of being in fandom spaces online where people will like deeply analyze characters. So now I kind of just do that on my own. I'll just analyze a character kind of on my own, and I'll think of them in fandom terms. Like, I was reading of Mice and Men in ninth grade, and I legit almost said that Lenny was autistic coded in class in front of all of my normal person classmates. But he is. He is, though. And, same with Gracie from Unwind. I don't know if any of you guys have read that book, or Unsouled, which is the third book. Yeah, it's the third one in the main series. Unwind, Unholy, Unsouled, and Undivided. I also think that Grace is autistic coded because she's often portrayed as like afraid and in her own head and not understanding things. But she does really enjoy like board games and she excels at them, which to me kinda more than anything looks like a special interest. And her brother Argent does not treat her well. He'll call her like dumb, but I don't think she's dumb in the books. I think that she just is in her own head a lot, which I can relate to because I'm in my own head a lot. And that's not to say that people, like autistic people, are dumb or anything. All of the medical professionals in my life and people and everyone who's been around me also thinks that I have autism, and I don't use that as a buzzword or anything. Like the way that people use autistic terms really makes me mad. Like when people talk about stimming like it's some quirky thing, like it's a trend, or when people use the word special interest for a normal interest. I mean like a regular amount of liking something, not like a popular thing. I'm actually most likely autistic. And it's not just like, flapping your hands and stimming. It's also the fact that I don't know like how to like talk to people exactly. Like I'll do stuff that's just socially inappropriate at times. And I think very differently than other people. And if I don't think differently, then I definitely say things differently than other people, because my peers will look at me strangely when I say certain things, and people will talk to me and I'll say that I don't care about certain things and that I do care about certain things that a lot of other people do or don't care about. I have very specific ways of doing things. What else? Like, I won't get social cues, which is why it would not be good for like a customer service job. So that's why everyone thinks I'm autistic. And also my best friend in the whole world, she has autism. And a lot of people at the school, they talk to her like she's a little baby, but she's not. And she's very intelligent. And I feel like the people who talk to her like a baby, they don't see her. And now I'm not in their brain, So I can't say for sure that they think or that they feel this, but I definitely feel like, from just what I've observed, that they see her more of a moral, like standing point. Like, see, I'm friends with her. I'm friends with the autistic kid. I can't be ableist. I can't be a bad person. I'm friends with the autistic kid. But like, they don't really, from what I've observed and how they speak to her, they don't really interact with what they say. They don't really care for what she has to say. They're just like, okay, yeah, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. And they kind of parade her around like she's a moral standing point. Again, like, see, we're friends with the autistic girl. And like, I guess I feel like I care more about what she has to say. Because I'm not friends with the autistic girl. I'm friends with a girl who has autism. I would say her name. I'd say I'm not friends with the autistic girl, I'm friends with her name. But I don't want to expose her name. So instead I went with I'm friends with a girl who has autism. And it could be like separate. And a lot of people, they have disabilities and they keep it separate from themselves. Like, I am a person with septo-optic dysplasia, but I'm not my septo-optic dysplasia. But yeah, like, I feel like people, they just kind of, they treat just mentally disabled, physically disabled, and neurodivergent people, visibly neurodivergent people as a whole, as like, see, look, like, they're pity friends. I became friends with her because, like, and I know that this is the bare minimum, I'm not trying to brag, but like, I became friends with her because I saw her and I was like, she seems really cool. She seems like the kind of person who knows, who will know all my nerdy references. She seems like the kind of person who's in fandom spaces, and also, I'm worried that people aren't going to be the kindest to her. So I became friends with her, and I can tell you probably a few things about her, a few things that they like, but if I had to guess, if I had to put money on it, I'd put about 50 cents that those other girls could tell you a few cartoons that she's interested in. But obviously, I would like her to have friends. I'm never gonna tell her that she can't have other friends other than me. I just wish those girls wanted to hear what she had to say more. And I wish a lot of people at the school wanted to hear what I had to say. But maybe they're just not as expressive as I am. Maybe that's it. Because I'm a very expressive and a very articulative person. As I said before, I'll say everything in a certain way with very expressive. My song's playing with very expressive terms and language that, I guess, paints kind of a picture. And like, I guess the others don't. So I don't know. It's hard to explain. And I feel like people who like care about that stuff, this like people of similar interests are of similar interests, if that makes sense. like, people of the most popular things are gonna be in a group of people who like the most popular things. But people like me who like animated web series and cartoons and like books. I really like books. I'm gonna be in a friend group with people who like web series and books and fandom spaces, obviously. Maybe that's it. And also people who are less articulate and talk about things less are gonna be in a group of people, and people who like they're gonna be in a group of people who are less articulate, and people who are more articulate are gonna be in a group of people who are more articulate. And I guess that's it. That's probably the thing. I think that's all for now. I think that's all I have to say. I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys next time. Whether that's in an hour, in a day, in a week, in a month. I don't post very consistently. I used to want to post twice a day. I could not keep up with that. I think I knew that I couldn't keep up with that when I started, but whenever I start endeavors like this, I'm always like, this time it's gonna be different, and then I stop immediately after. But, see you guys. I'll see you guys, and I hope all of you guys have a very lovely day. I know that I will tomorrow, because I have my book to continue. I'm on the third Unwind series, and the third book on Unwind. I'm trying to end this video on a positive note. Book 3 of Unwind, and I really hope Len of Calder does not die. See ya.